The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah! Go Cowboys!
This is Cowboys StoryLine with Nick Eatman.
What's up? Welcome to Cowboys Storyline. I am Nick Eatman. It's Wednesday, April 16th. We're almost a week from the NFL draft, which will be next Thursday, the 24th. That's when we can finally figure out what the Cowboys are going to do. That's probably the next time we'll see any movement from this team. I can't imagine any more transactions between now and then. There's been a few here and there, nothing major. There'll be some press conferences. There'll be a press conference today on Tyron Smith retiring officially from the Cowboys. They'll sign him and move him to the retired list. He will retire as a member of the Dallas Cowboys, which is where he should be. We can talk later in this show about where do you think he ranks all time among Cowboys greats, Cowboys great offensive lineman. Is he first ballot Hall of Famer? Does he get in before Zach Martin? Do they go in together? All this good stuff. Maybe Ring of Honor together. We'll see about that. We'll talk about, the draft stuff coming up with Stephen Jones. We'll be talking Jerry Jones. Everybody will have some things to say related to the draft. Maybe even today. There's going to be a press conference next week as well. That pre-draft press conference where they don't say anything. They say a lot and nothing at the same time. So this is the time of year where it's a lot of smoke screens, stuff that you see and hear. Really, why would they tip their hand on what they're going to do? Stephen Jones said yesterday, I think on 105.3 The Fan, in an interview, that can't really see a scenario where they would trade up. Maybe they would trade now. Well, that means they may be trading up then. I mean, that's just the way it is. I mean, they're not going to rule out anything, nor should they. All right, 888-855-2297 is the number to call. Let's go to the phone lines and get us going here. We're going to go to Irene in Virginia. Irene, what's up?
Hey, good morning. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. 8 days away from draft. That's awesome. So, first off, congrats to Tyron. I do think that Zach and Tyron will go in together. I assume they won't get first ballot Hall of Fame now that they're making it, very intentionally selective. And I do think that Super Bowl rings matter in that, even whether or not they should. But yeah, so that's my thought. But either way, great career. I definitely think they're both worthy of the Hall of Fame, whether it's first ballot or not.
Right.
Second off, just as a quick aside, I wanted to, with permission of Randy's son, I wanted to give an update about our buddy Randy. He's actually battling cancer right now. He has surgery coming up at the end of the month. So if anyone wants more details on that or want to help Randy out, hop on Twitter and find the Cowboys Storyliner community. And Randy, because I know you're listening, we love you, buddy. All right, you're in my thoughts and prayers for sure. As for football, like I said, we're 8 days away from trying to improve the team, and that's exciting. I hope that Milroe and Dart sneak into the top 11 because, they're actually invited to the draft and they're attending. So I don't know. I bet they're going to be closer to like the 20s, but I can hope. I want the elite players to come down to us so we have like multiple first-round grades. And aside from unrealistic drops of like Graham or Hunter, I think the only two that I wouldn't trade away from are Genty and McMillan. And if not, I would like us to move back a few spots, not many, but a few spots, and pick up maybe Golden or something and still get an extra player. So that's all I got for you, a lot in little. Once again, love you, Randy. Thinking about you. All right. Bye, guys.
All right. Thank you for the call. Yeah, it's tough to throw all that in there to say this guy's what he's going through and then jump to draft. But I mean, I get it. That's kind of trying to squeeze everything into one call. I'm not even going to touch the draft stuff. That's fine. That's an opinion. Yeah, as far as Randy goes, he reached out to Chris a couple of weeks ago and shared some of the news of what's happening with him. I believe he has surgery coming up at the end of this month. I think it's next Tuesday. And so we'll be praying for him. There is a GoFundMe page with like Irene mentioned. I will be sharing that on the Cowboys StoryLine Twitter account here. If you want to donate to help him and help his family for sure. The picture that they put on their GoFundMe page is a picture of him at the game wearing a Cowboys StoryLine T-shirt, which we sent to him. He wasn't even on the team, but we sent one to him. We had some extras, and he was definitely deserving. And the fact that he's reaching out to Chris, and he even says he wants to call after the surgery if he's feeling good the next day, because knowing it's a Wednesday, that's special. That this show means a lot to him, and how the community of the StoryLine group, and a big shout out to Irene, who's a big part of it, to creating this. Dylan, of course, as well. And we've created a family here, which is amazing. And so I know everyone will rally around that and support Randy, as well. So, and I know everybody that might call in will probably say something about it. So we're all pulling for you, Randy, and I'm glad Irene was able to call and kind of kick us off with that. All right, let's go to our next caller, Brian in Kansas City.
Good morning, sir.
How are you, Brian?
Well, man, I'm not on. I don't have any social media, so I don't follow the Storyliners and do the Twitter and all that. So I was just really sorry to hear about that.
Yeah.
That's the first time I heard about it, and God love hearing Randy call in, and it's just such a joy to listen to. Some people, it's kind of like having kids. They tell you don't have favorites, but you have favorites. And I listen to the show. There's some people I'd rather not listen to. Some people I enjoy listening to.
Yeah. It's funny you say that.
Randy's a kick in the pants, man.
Yeah. That's funny you say that, Brian, because I have this little, this chat group here with Chris, and so when he sends who's next and all that, and every time it's Randy, you're right, I get excited about it, and I think we've even said I can't take any more calls this time, we got to go. It's like, well, if Randy calls, then we'll take it. So and that's no offense to anybody else, everyone, I love the calls and all the support, but yeah, he's a character for sure, and I know we're all pulling for him. All right, Brian, what do you got, man?
Roger that. Hey, so I was moving on to Tyron Smith's retirement. I was listening to 105.3. Tiny Jim called into 105.3 the other day and did an interview. I don't know if it was yesterday or the day before.
That's David Hellman? Is that who you're referring to?
Yes, David Hellman, yeah. He says he likes that now. He says he hated it when it first started. Tiny. But now it means that somebody's been following him a damn long time if they use that name.
True. Yeah.
So he called in, and I hadn't thought about it when I first heard about Tyron's retirement, but of course it's true. You wonder how difficult they're making it on each other by both of them retiring at the same time. By having Zach and Tyron retire at the same time, you wonder about, when it comes, 5 years from now, mm-hmm. Are they making it harder on each other? And he made the argument that because Zach had a much healthier career, he probably would be more likely to be a first ballot guy, and Tyron might have to wait because he retired in the same year.
Maybe. I mean, I don't know about all of that. I mean, I don't love the process, if I'm being honest, about how the Hall of Fame is right now, and the people that stand up and vote for, or try to, give their support for the player just because it's their hometown. I don't really love the process of it, and especially what's happening in Dallas, because the guys that are doing it for the Dallas aren't actually reporting for the team anymore. So I don't love that, and so the whole process is kind of backwards to me. And look what it's done to Woody. I mean, it's just left him on the outside for years. Yeah. So, anyways, well, I'll talk more about that here in a second. You have any more points that you want to make?
Yeah, just for the draft. I don't know if I'll be able to call in next Wednesday, but I'm just so excited for the draft.
Yeah,
I'm personally hoping they do at least one trade back in the first round. Just not back into the 30s, but trade back and get just an extra second or an extra third or, something. But I'm still hoping for the offensive lineman. The last I read, I heard that Simmons, which is the offensive tackle for the Buckeyes, that his medicals came back okay and his knee's going to be fine. And, man, that would be a guy I would just love to have. I don't know where you're playing him or if somebody else has got to move or whatever, but I would just love to have somebody in the trenches, man. And my second pick would be Grant. So I'm just super hyped about the draft, brother, and can't wait for it.
Yeah.
It's good to talk to you this morning. I'll hang up and listen to what you have to say about the Hall of Fame thing.
All right, Brian. Appreciate that. Thank you so much. Going back to what Irene had said as well about not sure if either one of them now will be first ballot. But, and unless they're going to come out and say, you could only be a skill player to be a first ballot. If they're going to say that, then say it. Or if you're going to say you have to be you have to go to the Super Bowl or whatever and win the Super Bowl. But if you're going to say you had to be the elite of the elite at your position for a decade or more, for a whole decade, you had to be the guy that, no doubt about it, you were the best player at your position. And if that is a criteria, and I think it should be for being in the Hall of Fame, then how in the world could Zach Martin ever not be in the Hall of Fame? First ballot? I mean, why not? He was the best. If you're going to knock him because guard isn't the sexy pick and all that, well, then say that. But if it's a position like everyone else, like every other position, why not Zach Martin as a first ballot Hall of Famer? There's no doubt about it. There was not a better guard for 10 years. And guards don't have stats. He does. He has a stat. And it's mind-blowing that he has more All-Pros and Pro Bowls than actual holding calls. That means he was a guy that you could count on to be elite. You could count on to not make mistakes. And, so I know this is a day about Tyron, but and I don't know about Tyron as the first ballot. I think the injuries definitely are going to be a factor there. I think he is one, but another guy that's kind of in that same mix there too would be Jason Peters. So there's other tackles that are going to be considered, and I think they might hurt each other more than these two Cowboys that are on the same line together, because the positions are different. Even though it's O-line, the positions are different, and I think Zach Martin was absolutely the elite of the elite. I do think Tyron makes it. Now, as far as Ring of Honor, I could see them both going in, and at that point, it'll be interesting to see if Travis Frederick is considered in that as well. I don't know. That's a little tricky though, because if Travis Frederick, in my opinion, makes it to the Ring of Honor, then I think Nate Newton's got a huge case, and I think he does anyway. So that one's that'll be tricky there. All right, let's keep it moving here. Let's go to Nigel in Arizona.
Hey, how are you, Nick?
How you doing?
I'm great. Happy hump day.
Yep.
Yeah. As everyone else, I can't wait for the draft, because I'm so tired of all the Fugazi shit out there that we're hearing about. This, that.
Whoa.
Sorry, didn't mean that. I know. Sorry.
All right, man.
Sorry.
All right. Kids are in school, hopefully. All right.
Yeah, they are. Anyways, but getting back to the first round, if we stick there, it kind of makes me nervous. I mean, I agree. Maybe going with the unsexy route of an offensive lineman, just going back to when we were dominant back in the 2017, 18, 19.
Mm-hmm.
But my other question is, like, the receiver class. It's okay, yeah. But there's no, like, CD, there's no Chase, there's no Jefferson or any of that. So grabbing one in the first round out of specific need kind of scares me. Same thing at running back. I don't think Gentry makes it, but Hampton's awesome, but I don't see that happening. So I'm just curious, your insight. I know you've probably said this a million times and you're tired of it, but that direction, do you think we'd be better off getting a stud offensive lineman, or just go out and grab that receiver or running back if they're available. Thank you, Nick.
Thanks, Nigel. That's okay.
Sorry about the
That's all right. It happens. All right, appreciate that. You know, I don't think it's a popular opinion among Cowboys fans, even Cowboys media that I talk to. I feel like people want that running back or the wide receiver, that skill player. And I wouldn't be opposed to it. Those players are fun, but I still think you need offensive linemen. I mean, you need guys that you can count on. We're going to honor a player today in Tyron Smith, who for 10, 11 years, you just knew he was going to just lock it down. Yeah, he's going to get hurt a little bit here and there, but when he's on the field, he's going to be great. He's going to be great. And he was. Same with Zach Martin. And now you don't have those guys. So guess what? They were first rounders. So I'm okay with going back to the well again. That's what makes them really good. I mean, remember when Zach Martin was drafted, now that was 3 in 4 years. 4-year period, they got 3 offensive linemen in the first round. And guess what happened in 2014? Well, DeMarco Murray, who was a third-round running back, went for 1,800 yards, Offensive Player of the Year in the NFL, set the Cowboys record. Tony Romo was third in the MVP voting. That was the whole Des Caudick year and all that. That was a great football team. And so getting back to that sounds kind of fun. Now, these other receivers I see, McMillan, Golden, yeah, those are great, and they would be fun to have, and that might be the case. But if it's me, I would just go with the offensive line. The defensive line, maybe, but offensive line is. I just think for the most part, the way the Cowboys pick, especially high in the first round, I think that they'll get a guy that's really good. All right, let's keep it going. Keith in Florida is next. Keith.
Hey, Nick, how you doing?
Good. How are you doing?
Doing great, man. And like everybody else, I'm psyched for the draft. I've got a comment to make, and then I've got a question for you. So my comment is I'm a little worried this year because I think we've got a hole at cornerback, and unless they do something in the next week, when we start the draft, we've got a hole there that I feel like almost like last year. I felt like we had a hole on the offensive line, and I kind of feel like I know the Cowboys try to do a good job with, filling all those holes in free agencies until we get to the draft. But I just feel like that. I hope we're not repeating last year again, but in the cornerback position. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, that's first of all, I have to ask: are you a first-time caller?
No, I'm from Fernandina Beach, Florida. I called you about 2 months ago. You loved where I was at.
From where, Florida?
Fernandina Beach.
Oh, yeah. Okay, all right. I asked Chris if you're a first-time caller. He didn't respond. I don't think so. I didn't remember that, but now I do remember that. I remember that place. Sorry about that. All right.
No problem.
Cool. It's not a sneaky need anymore. It's a need. It's not like they need corner. I mean, think about what they lost and what they acquired. I mean, and also with Diggs hurt. Yeah, it's a need, no doubt about it. At cornerback with Jordan Lewis gone, they picked up the corner from the Bills, which I don't know why I always forget his name. I haven't figured out. I can remember the guy from 1984, but I can't remember this guy's name. I know it's a weird spelling. Help me out here, Chris. What's the guy's name? Remember the corner? Do you remember the guy they traded for from the Bills? I don't remember. Khalil something. Anyways,
Elam.
Elam. That's right. Elam. But they don't have they don't. Who else? It's Mukwamu. I don't know if I love that. So, Kalen Carson. Yeah, I mean he was playing well early, but yeah, it's a position. And I mean, would you be okay, Keith, first round? If it was 12?
I believe I would. And you said it best. If Trayvon Diggs was healthy, I wouldn't feel so bad about it. But I mean, we really can't expect him until probably midseason at best. And I just got this knot in my stomach about last year. and obviously I just don't want that to happen again. So, yeah,
No, I hear you.
We're on the same page on that.
No, I hear you, and there might be some moves in the works, or if there was a draft day trade where you could maybe get a corner. I mean, I would be interested in that. Now, they've already made the trade to get Elam, but, if only there was a player you could get that could play corner and receiver. Man, now that would be fun. If you could get that guy. I mean, I don't know. If you were a little bit closer, I think 12, if you wouldn't have won some of those games down the stretch.
I totally agree. I think at the end of the day, though, like you said, if maybe there's a draft day trade or something to where they can grab a veteran corner, I just feel like we need somebody there. I just don't want to rely on a rookie, even if it's a first-round rookie, to get in there. Because I feel like that's kind of what we did with Tyron Guyton. First-round rookie, guess what, pal? You're starting. He didn't have that much experience in college. Again, I just don't want to go down that same path, and I hope they don't.
Yeah, no, I'm with you, and that's really good, insightful, and call. I appreciate it, Keith. Thanks for the call.
You, Nick.
Corner. I mean, corner is something that they need to definitely address, because you're going into it, and I mean, and still it's still not easy to evaluate what Deron Bland is. I mean, he's a good player, and he had some great moments, but he's not a shutdown corner. I don't know if that term even exists anymore. I really don't. But he's not. I mean, he gets beat, but he takes chances. I mean, that's the thing. You take chances to get picks. You get beat some too. I don't think teams were afraid of him. Same with Trayvon Diggs. When he had the 11 interceptions. I mean, the teams weren't necessarily afraid of him, so they threw at him. Well, he's got good hands for a corner. He's got good hands just in general. I mean, Diggs was a receiver in college, and Bland's, they're just playmakers. But they're still, they're not going to be just, shut down half the field or whatever. So corner is a spot that it wouldn't hurt my feelings if they drafted that position at 12 or moved back a little bit and still picked up a guy. There's Barron from Texas, Will Johnson, Michigan, Amos from Ole Miss. I believe we have a story on him on our website today as a possible pick. That would probably be more second round. But still, cornerback, definitely position we got to look at for sure. All right, let's go to Dylan, Northport, Florida.
Hey, Nick. What's up, man?
Dylan, how you doing?
Hey, all right. Shout out to Randy. Our thoughts and prayers, buddy. Hang in there. I know you're a tough dude, and one of one for sure. So
yeah.
We're thinking about you, buddy.
For sure.
To jump over into the draft stuff here. Davion called me out last week by name, so I got to respond to my guy, Davion. This is for you, buddy. I know you're listening. So you kind of touched on it before, Nick, but I want to ask you, what was the best part of the offense in 2014? I think it's pretty easy to say, right?
2014?
2014, best part of the offense.
Running the football, wasn't it?
Right, and that was because of the offensive line, right?
Right.
Same thing about 2016, right? Probably the same thing about 2018. Those were all really good seasons offensively because you could run the ball really well. You had Tony Romo in 2014, probably the best year of his career, I'd argue. Right. Maybe 2007 was up there, but 2014 he was the best I've ever seen, and it's a shame that he had to retire shortly after that, but that was prime Romo, all right? Dak came in as a rookie. You could say maybe that was the best season that Dak has had. He's obviously a better quarterback now than he was, back then, but the way the offense was constructed, that was probably the best maybe we've ever seen Dak play football. So my point is, people don't consider the offensive line as a weapon, but I think they're a weapon, or at the very least, they're the grindstone that sharpens all the weapons around them. A great offensive line elevates the entire offense, and if you can get a stud like Membo or Will Campbell at 12, and you go into the second round and get yourself a nice running back like a Caleb Johnson, or if Henderson's there, one of those guys, you've just transformed this offense. You take a question mark at right guard out of the equation with Hoffman, who people like, and I get he's a kind of a brawler, but he's got a ceiling. There's a reason why he was undrafted guy, right? So there was a reason for that. And if you can insert a guy who can instantly have a higher floor and a higher ceiling, I'll take that all day and transform this offense. Oh, and by the way, if you can run the ball better, well, you've also now just increased the efficiency of your passing game as well, because now teams got to commit more resources to the ground game. So just a thought, man. Offensive line definitely is a weapon, even though it's not your classical consideration as like a weapon. But I still think they are.
I totally agree. I 100% agree, and I agree with you that it makes your other guys better. I don't think having a dynamic wide receiver like a Jamar Chase in the Cincinnati makes the offensive line better. I don't believe that, but I do think a great offensive line can make an Alvin Harper or Jay Novacek better, like they were in the 90s, and also the teams that you have now. I mean, I just think, like you said, the 2014 you had Dez, but Dez's best season, I believe, was that year. At least from a touchdown standpoint. So that line makes everybody better. Even the 2015 when they didn't have a quarterback and they went 4-12, they still had 3 offensive linemen make to the Pro Bowl. Darren McFadden came in, got 1,100 yards. I mean, I feel like you can do a lot of things with a great offensive line. So
if you have a really, really great offensive line, you don't have to have great skill position players. Like DeMarco Murray was a really good football player, and he had a great season in 2014, right?
Exactly.
You could say the same thing for a lot of guys across the league. But people are going to be disappointed if they take a lineman at 12, and I think that's just foolish and short-sighted, and I think that's a really good pick if they can get a Membo or a Campbell.
It won't be this chair that's disappointed. I can promise you that. So, all right, Dylan, good stuff.
Thanks, Nick.
All right, let's go one more call before we go to break. Let's go Anthony. He's in Norristown, Pennsylvania, and this is a first-time caller. Anthony.
What's up, Nick?
How you doing?
I'm good, bro. I'm good. How you doing, man?
Hold on. Let's pause because we know what this means.
Hey,
Here we go.
Hey, that's what's up.
All right, man. How you doing?
I'm good. So, haven't been listening. Just was eating and was like, hey, let me try to call and get in. Got in on my 25th call.
There you go. Not too bad, right? But I appreciate it. 25 calls is still 25 calls. I know people have 100 and all that stuff.
Exactly. I work overnight, so I don't really get to listen to you guys live.
So you're ready to go to bed, right? This is nighttime.
Exactly.
Right? All right.
Exactly.
All right.
I don't know what the topic is. I was just like,
topic.
I just got finished eating.
Hey, we've been talking. Tyron Smith's going to retire as a Cowboy today. We talked to that and where he stands, Hall of Fame wise, and also just draft. And since you haven't called him before, what are your thoughts on the draft and what this team needs and all that good stuff?
All right. So Tyron Smith, hey man, I think it's pretty dope that he's retiring with Zach Martin. Them 3, Frederick, Martin, and him. So him going out same year as Zach Martin, I think that's pretty cool. Definitely Hall of Fame guy. Definitely. And for the draft, like I said, I listen to y'all, man, and I'm not I'm not with the linemen, man. I think we're pretty cool on linemen, bro. I really do. I think we're pretty cool on linemen. We haven't really tapped into what we have. You know what I mean? Like, I think TJ Bass has a little something. I think Brock Hoffman has a little something. Nathan Thomas we haven't seen. We just got, I think, what was it, like two offensive linemen from out of house.
Yeah.
And who else am I missing? I know it's was it Sims? The left tackle, he got hurt at the end. He started doing good. What was his name?
Awesome Richards.
Awesome Richards. Yeah, him. So I think that we'll be cool if we go. If we do need to go, I would say later rounds, and then I would do something fancy like a running back or a receiver. Like my dream would be, in all honesty, if Hunter or the main guys. I'm not even with a receiver. Like I'll take a receiver at 12. I'll be cool. But if Genty or Hunter falls or Abdul Carter falls or they don't fall, then I'm my dream scenario would be to go back, like trade back, get a 4th, and just get like 4 starters, man. I would do and no specific order, but running back, receiver, D tackle, and corner.
Yeah. Well, I like those that, I mean, asking or hoping those guys fall.
I know they not, but
Okay.
so basically,
Okay,
yeah, I know they not. But
okay.
I'm saying, so basically, I want to trade back.
Okay.
And
Because you said it
do
so
those.
serious, like, if Carter
I
falls,
mean, but
yeah.
but anything's possible. It's possible.
Yeah, it's
You never know.
possible,
You know what I
but
mean? CD fell.
you're right, it's possible.
Yeah.
You just wonder about,
Unlikely.
who got
Unlikely,
arrested, for that kind of
Hey,
stuff.
maybe I could conjure something up on him.
Yeah. All right. Thanks for the call. Appreciate that. That's Anthony, Norristown, Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania,
Yeah.
right in the heart of Philly. I get it every day, man.
How close
every
is that?
single
How close
day.
is that to Philadelphia?
I'm probably like 10 minutes.
Oh.
10 minutes from Philadelphia, but there's it used to be famous. King of Prussia Mall I think it's like top 5 in the largest malls in the U.S. So I'm like 10 minutes from there, 10 minutes from Philadelphia.
Nice. All right. Well,
Yep.
I appreciate that. Hey, Anthony, thanks for the call. Let's keep it rolling here. Now, I'll say this: every time someone calls from the Philadelphia area as a Cowboy fan, I have mad props to them because I know the kind of crap that they have to take constantly when the Eagles aren't good, and then they actually won the Super Bowl this year, so that can't be fun at all. But they're still the Eagles. I'm sorry. I mean, keep winning if you want, but they're gonna, and their fans will definitely still be Eagles fans. If you know, you know. Let's go to break here on Cowboys Storyline. We'll be right back after this.
Discover Aiden, the official luggage partner of the Dallas Cowboys and Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders. Known for top-tier engineering and craftsmanship, Aiden offers more than just bags. Originating from Australia and designed in New York, it merges fashion, design, and culture. Used by Dallas Cowboys players, staff, and the entire organization, Aiden provides style and functionality for all travelers. Visit AidenTheBrand.com and use code AidenXCowboys for 25% off your purchase. Travel like your favorite stars with Aiden.
How do you tell the world about all the great gifts in the Yeti store? Let her rip, Troy.
All right, folks, let's get started with the Yeti French Press. Enjoy coffee that stays hot for hours in a French press. 34 ounce for you, 6'4" for the cruise. The Yeti French Press. Up next, waterproof bags. Bags waterproof. Submersible waterproof doubles. Waterproof bags. World's mostly water, so get a waterproof Yeti bag. Do I smell something cooking? Oh, new cast iron skillets made to be passed down like Mama's recipes. Take a steak, cornbread, cobbler's pot pie, and potatoes next level with 3 sizes of Yeti cast iron skillets.
Gear, gifts, and product experts. Visit the Yeti store on McKinney Street and at South Lake Town Square today.
Alltech Lansing has been perfecting sound since 1927, bringing you decades of audio excellence to elevate your Dallas Cowboys tailgate ritual. Equip your next pregame with the Sound Rover 180 with 6 hours of playtime, built-in microphone, multicolor light modes, and a rugged exterior that's built to last. Visit alltechlansing.com/Cowboys15 for 15% off your Sound Rover 180. That's ALTECLANSING.com/Cowboys15 for 15% off. Alltech Lansing, official audio partner of the Dallas Cowboys.
Back to Cowboys Storyline.
Hey, Cowboy fans, check out the 12th annual Reliant Home Run Derby on April 22nd. That's a Tuesday, just a couple days before the draft. Your favorite Cowboy players are going to swing for the fences to raise money for the Salvation Army. It is the Home Run Derby. Admission is free. Gates open at 6 p.m. Seating first come, first serve. Visit DallasCowboys.com/Reliant HRD for more details. HRD for Home Run Derby. All right, let's keep it going here on Cowboys Storyline. Got another 45 minutes or so to chat with you guys. Let's go to another first-time caller here. We got Jerome in Birmingham, Alabama. Jerome.
Hey, Nick the Quick. How are you, sir?
How you doing? There you go.
All right.
We don't have a lot of callers from Alabama. I mean, there's 2 pro teams already in Alabama, and the Crimson Tide and Auburn. And so we just don't have a lot of fans there. So, but I love it. I'm glad you called.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of any of that. I'm a Cowboy. At the end of the day.
So you don't even partake in any of that mess, that Auburn, Alabama mess?
I do not, man. I'm a graduate from the University of Alabama. My boy played at Auburn, but no, I do not partake in that. I bleed blue.
Okay, I love it. All right, let's go, man. What do you got? Tell us about yourself and what you think about this team.
Well, I just called in, Nick, because, I listen to you guys generally on recording because I'm generally working, but I listen to all the shows, been listening to you guys for years. My son is a huge fan. I grew up a Cowboys fan because my granddad loved the Cowboys, so I've been following the Cowboys, man, since I can remember, sitting out with my granddad and checking the games out. I'm such a fan that my boy, two of my granddaughters are named after Cowboys. I got a granddaughter named Dallas Avery and a granddaughter named Dakota.
Nice.
What do I think about the Cowboys this year? I don't agree with you, Nick, when it comes to, drafting an offensive lineman. You look back at the 90s, we didn't have first-round talent on the offensive line. We had 3 great skill position players that led us to, championships. I think we need skill position players to go along with Dak and CD, to beef up our defense, and let's make a run. That's where I'm at, Nick.
I hear you. All right, Jerome, appreciate the call. And I say this all the time, and forgive me for repeating myself, but every time I hear another scenario like this, it makes me think about, being a Cowboy fan. And Jerome from Alabama is a perfect example of how you don't choose to be Cowboy fans. It chooses you. And here's another example of that. You said his granddad was a Cowboy fan. He remembered being out there with him. He just wanted to hang out with granddad. What are you doing? Who are we watching? The Cowboys. That's your team? Well, that's my team. And he passes it on to his kids. Who's your team, Dad? Well, that's my team. That's the way it was with me. And I love that. And that's the way it was with probably most of these Cowboy fans as well, because Lord knows the last 30 years hasn't been, a great time to say, oh, I'm going to jump on the bandwagon. So if you're a Cowboy fan, it's because somebody probably older than you passed it on, and here we are. You make a good point about the 90s. My only counter to that with the offensive line and didn't have first-rounders then is it's so different. The draft is so different than it was 30, 40 years ago. I mean, it really is, because teams are so much better now than they were at evaluating players and all that. So they had some good linemen. They had good linemen that they developed, but there were some good linemen that fell through the cracks a little bit here and there, and the Cowboys were just a little bit better at scouting than other teams were. And so a little bit further advanced to find the Eric Williams at a Central Ohio State or Larry Allen and pull the trigger on that to get Larry Allen in the second round. I think other teams knew about him, but not to the point that they did. And, Nate Newton developed. Mark Tuinei developed. So it's not, that was all kind of lightning in a bottle there. But go back and look at, I don't know, are there third, fourth round, fifth round linemen that are developing a lot into starters? The Cowboys, I just think of the last decade or so, and when they had really good players, they were drafting these linemen in the first round. So I just think you have a chance to. You're not really going to miss, and the jury's out on Tyler Guyton. That was a reach pick, and they knew that they needed him to develop. But you draft a guy at 12, he's not going to develop. He's going to come in and play. And I just think that would be a great pick. But hey, I'm not going to sit there and argue if it's McMillan, if it's Golden, I'd be fine with that. Running back, Genty falls. I don't think he will, but I'm not moving up for anybody unless they're just going to go get Travis Hunter. Then I don't. And that would just be so much fun that whatever it would take to trade and do all that, you would just say, I'll deal with that later. But if they did that, I think we'd be hearing that all-in phrase again, because that's what it would have to take probably to get it. All right, let's keep it going. Gavin in Oklahoma City is next. Gavin, what's up?
What's up, my man? How's it going?
Good. How are you?
I'm pretty good, man. It's a beautiful day. So first I want to talk about Tyron Smith. I usually don't come in here and talk about players that are retiring and stuff like that. I like to keep it moving toward the future. But he was a special player to me because I'm very young, so I was a little kid when he got drafted. Tyron Smith was my favorite player other than Dez Bryant. So when I played Little League football and they asked me what number I wanted, I was bigger than everybody. Just imagine probably like Josh Ball in high school. That was me when I was like 10 or 11. So they let me get big number 77, man. Shout out to Tyron Smith. I think he belongs. Ring of Honor, Hall of Fame, all of that. When Tyron Smith and his prime got his hands on somebody, it was a wrap.
Over.
When he gets his hands on you, it's over. That's what I remember about Tyron Smith.
Yeah.
All right. So what I wanted to talk about as far as the present, what y'all was talking about with the O-line and stuff, I'm team. Let's get some skill players. I'm gonna tell you why. First of all, I'm down this hill alone if I have to. I believe in Guyton. I think Guyton's going to leap this year. He was raw, and you could argue he might have been a reach at the time when we needed him to step in starter. That's what we needed. I think when this gets their hands on Guyton's somewhere working right now. I truly believe that. With the kid attitude, I think he's a hard worker. I think he's going to get it right. As far as guard goes, I think he has confidence. Mr. Bass and what's his name, Brock Hoffman, and you got the new guy. I think let those guys compete for that position and let the staff draw up some better plays, and let's see what we can get going with the O-line. I think we do have some good pieces in there. Steele would be my biggest question, honestly, even over Guyton. I know he played better towards the second half of the season, but it seems like in big moments when we need Steele to step up, he just doesn't do it. I think Austin Richards is nice. I like the way he's playing, too. I just think we have enough pieces to play around with the O-line. When you have CeeDee Lamb and Dak, that's just not enough in today's league as far as weapons go. Who else is scaring any of these teams? That would be my argument to that. Yes, you can draft a great O-line and run the ball all day, but when we get to the playoffs, we're going to need some weapons if we get to the playoffs, and I just don't think we have enough weapons to get that done. That would be my argument to that. I know y'all team O-line, and I do respect that. I don't think there's a wrong opinion here, you know what I mean? It's just how do you think what do you think would help this team the most? I would say in the first round, running back or receiver, that would be my pick.
Okay.
So appreciate you for taking my call, and I'd like to hear your thoughts on it.
All right. Thanks, Kevin. I feel like my thoughts on it, I've it's kind of beating a dead horse here because I've said it. It just comes down to this because, you can't just have elite players at every position. So it just comes down to it's like a chicken and egg theory, really. I mean, do you think having more skill players is what's needed with a good offensive line? Because everyone keeps talking about all these pieces. I like Hoffman, I like Bass, and I think Guyton's going to be good, and all this stuff. It's like, okay, but they're all just kind of okay to good, and you hope BB takes that next step there. But Tyler Smith is there. He's solid. I mean, not solid. He's great. I mean, that's a great piece that you have, but. You just don't have a lot that you can count on. And yes, there's a lot of little pieces here. So if you don't draft an offensive lineman in the first or second round, then you're going to get one, I'm sure, third round, fourth, if they can get back into the fourth, which they probably will, or fifth, So you've got some chances. But you draft a lineman later like that, then he's kind of just in the mix with everybody else that you have, with your TJ Bass and your Awesome Richards and all that stuff. Well, Let's Goes, all that. So I'm just thinking, I would like to get an elite player that I don't have to worry about. And for so long you've had that on your offensive line, but you really don't have that anymore. So that's kind of what I would look at. And then I just think a third round receiver can be good with the pieces around him. That's just my take. But I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do. I mean, that's what's the beauty of being number 12. You can just kind of play the board and see how it goes. Somebody had called in earlier. I can't remember which caller it was. Maybe like 30 minutes ago, that was talking about there's no CD in this draft, and there's no Justin Jefferson in this draft. Well, I think we all know that if people could look at the future and see what CD was going to do and what Justin Jefferson was going to do and basically reset the receiver market, they're not going to be picked at 17th and 20th and whatever those guys were. They fell for whatever the reason. And so what my point is in that draft, there was no CD and Justin Jefferson and whoever you want to compare them to. At that time, it's like, well, there's no Odell Beckham in this draft. That's probably what people were saying. Well, Justin Jefferson was, and so was CD Lamb. And Odell Beckham as well went 12 or so in that 2014 draft. And if everyone knew what he was going to do, he would have gone a little higher too. So sometimes receivers, you don't know, because it's not just them. You got to have the quarterback. You got to have the line. They can't just do it by themselves. And so sometimes some receivers are ready to develop, some aren't. All right, let's go to Matthew in Oklahoma.
Hello.
What's up, man?
Oh, not much. Just figured I'd give my little thoughts on the draft. I'm a first-time caller.
Here we go.
And I agree with you on the offensive line. My only thing is we've had really good offensive lines, and not at the same point in time we haven't had the really good defensive line.
Okay. So you thinking defensive line?
I'm thinking defensive line.
All right.
Now, I mean, unless our Membu's there at 12, I'd want to move back, maybe pick up another second round or third round pick, and I'd double dip on the defensive line at one tech. I'd take Harmon out of Oregon and that kid out of Texas.
Oh, the big guy?
Big guy, yep.
Yeah. I know you're talking about. Alfred Collins?
Alfred Collins, yep. And then,
6'6", 332.
Yeah. I mean, you get a big run stuffer up in there, and right. I'd really like to see the kid from Ohio State, the running back Judkins, maybe in the third. That'd be awesome.
Now, do you like Judkins more than Henderson?
No, but Henderson's not going to be there in the third.
So you said third round. Okay, Henderson's more of a second rounder? Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think he's making it out of the first round.
Nice.
I don't think he's going to make it out of the first round.
Yeah. It all just depends with the run on running backs, where does Hampton go, and then does that trigger some things where everyone starts getting worried about it? But
yeah, I've seen Hampton as high as like New Orleans, I think it was, or Chicago.
Yeah.
At 10. And it's just like, man, I mean, it could happen, but I've seen stranger things happen in the draft.
Yeah. It won't surprise me if the Cowboys don't have a running back until Saturday, which means first, second, third round, not drafting a running back. That won't surprise me.
So you're thinking fifth round?
I'm just saying, yeah.
So like a Blue out of Texas, or I can't think of that other kid they were talking about, or maybe a James out of Oregon.
Yeah. Maybe a Rocket Sanders.
Rocket Sanders, yep.
Which I hate to say from South Carolina because he's not, but whatever. He's transfer portal guys.
Yeah.
He was great at Arkansas. Really, really fast. I mean, obviously his name's Rocket, but and a big guy too. But probably somebody like that. But I'm not saying that they wouldn't draft one. It's just nothing's really going to surprise me. I say that, then I'll be on this. We'll do a show Friday, and I'm like, I'm shocked. But I mean, I don't know. There's just so many options. That's what makes it fun. I mean, 12's a pretty fun spot, Yeah,
and if you listen to Brian Broaddus, it sounds like the front office really likes Matthew Golden out of Texas.
Yep. I mean, what's not to like? I mean,
I mean, you got that 4.29 speed. That'd be hard to pass up on, but
yes, yeah. I've always said this. I want a receiver who didn't play spring football. He wasn't on the spring football team because he was running track. That's the guy that I want. Like, oh, well, he's back and forth a little bit. He played receiver, but he's running the 4x100. That's the guy that I want to be on the team. And we haven't really ever seen that guy in a long, long time. Golden would be it. Golden would be the guy. But, and I'm not trying to talk out of both sides of my mouth. I mean, that's what the draft is. I'd be fine with the lineman, but trust me, if they draft a guy like McMillan or definitely Golden, I'm like, okay, let's have some fun,
I mean, Abuka, I think is his name, out of Ohio. A lot of people are high on him too.
Yeah.
I don't know how much the Cowboys are. I know they brought him in for a 30 visit.
Yeah. You know, and 30 visits, like, there's something to that. If you go back and look at some of the guys that they brought in, coming in for a 30 visit definitely helps. That's a good sign. That doesn't always mean, though, that they love them. It sometimes, and I've heard this, sometimes it's hey, did we talk to him at the Senior Bowl? Like, no, he wasn't there. What about the Combine? Well, he really wasn't. We didn't get a good look. Well, okay, let's bring him in for a 30 visit just so we can make sure. That doesn't necessarily mean that they love him. They're just, let's make sure we haven't really done our homework as much as we want. Let's bring him in for a 30 visit and put him here on the board and let him see what he can do.
Right.
All right. Well, anything else, Matthew?
No, that's it. I just figured I'd call in and give my 2 cents and,
Love it.
Uh-huh.
Well, it's good to hear from you for our first-time caller, Matthew in Oklahoma. That's back-to-back calls from Oklahoma. Are we going to make it 3 in a row? No. Sebastian, Savannah, Georgia. What's up, Sebastian?
I'm doing well, sir. How about yourself?
Good. How are you doing today, and what are you thinking? What are you thinking for the draft?
Listen, doing just fine. And for the draft, first and foremost, we cannot get this first pick wrong. So I'm leaning towards cornerback, right? But there's a trend that's happening in the NFL and in the draft right now with people not showing up to the combine and not doing it, exercising their pro days. I'm not a fan of that. They need to start holding these players accountable. So there is Will Johnson. He's the cornerback from Michigan. And with our recent trend in history with Michigan players, I might pass on Will Johnson. He's supposed to be the number 2 cornerback in the draft behind Travis Hunter, but he didn't run. So are you trying to tell me that you're hurt, or are you hiding the fact that you don't have speed? And in our division, we got Scary Terry, Malik Neighbors, Devontae Smith, and A.J. Brown. I don't need a hurt cornerback, and I don't need a guy who's not fast. So I might pass on that and go for the third guy. I think John A. Barron is his name, or whatever the case is.
Yeah.
And then, so my first pick would be, if it was me picking, it would be corner. It addressed the need, and we'd be in position to get one of the top ones in the draft if that were the case at number 12 without having to slide back. In the event that we do move back, all bets are on the table from that point on.
Yeah.
And there's also an edge rusher that I'm interested in because we're going to need somebody to go on the other side of Micah Parsons now that Lawrence is gone. Not just somebody who can hold up against the run, but a nice edge rusher with a decent run would be good. That's it for me, man. You guys have a great day. Can't wait for the draft, and happy Easter, everybody.
All right. Good stuff. Thank you, Sebastian. I'm not sure, who knows what the cornerback rankings are. I'm not sure that Barron's not rated higher than Will Johnson from Michigan. I know the Cowboys like Barron. I mean, okay, hold on. When you say the Cowboys like him, I mean, everybody talks to people, okay? People talk. There's 30 scouts over there and coaches and front office guys and whatever. And so you talk to someone like, you could talk to one person in the hallway and they're like, I really like Barron. He's got this and this and hips. And I talk to him. He's great. He's ready to come in and start. And then you go back to your desk and in your mind, you're like, the Cowboys like Barron. Well, okay. And this guy does. That doesn't mean when he goes into the room, 6 other guys are like, nah, he doesn't agree. But everyone just kind of looks at it differently. So it's not like people are talking, myself or Brian Broaddus, whoever, you're talking to 1 guy, 2 guys, 3 guys, and maybe that is the opinion of the consensus of the room, but that doesn't necessarily mean that, So, and you guys that listen to the draft show, they argue about players all the time. There's guys like, I really like him, or I don't like him as much. I don't like him as much as they like him. So it's, it's all the opinion of what you see and those games that you're watching. You're not, most of these guys that are studying film, they're not watching 40 games that they play. They're watching like 3 or 4. So let's hope it's a good one, that kind of stuff. All right, let's go to Carolina. He is driving right now in Shreveport, Louisiana. Carolina, what's up?
What's up, man? This one's for my guy Randy, man. Get well soon.
Nice. Definitely.
All right.
How you doing, man?
I got it. I had to shout out my guy. You know the fellow trucker, so, man, we got to stick together. Man.
Yeah, of course.
But outside of that, I just want to second Dylan's motion from earlier. I definitely believe that if we have an offensive line that's good or great, that does consider as a weapon. Because if you got a good offensive line, you got more time to throw the ball. You got more holes to be open. And if you got that, I mean, that's what would I say? That's a way for success, a formula for success. So I'm definitely okay with us getting the O-lineman in the first. But what I was thinking of is, if we do get an O-lineman in the first, there's still guys out there in free agency as far as receivers go. And the receiver classes are not that heavy on, top tier talent. So why not just, get our O-lineman in the first, like you said, on draft day, make us a trade, like Tyler Lockett or Keenan Allen. I mean, I know everybody, that's not the most glaring names, but at least we got a proven receiver. I mean, there's always another draft. So we get someone to hold it down for a year or two, we can, go back into the draft years to come and get that, that second receiver, that young guy to come in and make a difference. But if you we talking veteran, proven talent, I mean, there's still guys out there.
Yeah.
Would that be something that you would think, hey, I could do that?
I mean, yeah, I think after the draft, you're going to have some free agents that'll sign with other teams. There's some just too good of players out there that aren't on teams right now. So, right now everyone wants to wait and see what happens with the draft, what they have, what they need, and then there'll be another wave of free agency. So, yeah, that certainly could happen. I just think there's less potential for a bust in taking an offensive lineman. And you can throw names all you want, but I just believe that if you take an offensive lineman at that area, he'll be ready to come right in and play. I don't know the same about a receiver. I think running back could, but I just think that you have better chances for elite plug-and-play players with an offensive lineman.
And I wholeheartedly agree, because we've seen it at the beginning of last year. For the beginning of the season, the first games Dak played, he was out there, he was running for his life. Instead of him having 5 seconds, he had like 2.5. So you give that guy some more time back there, let the play develop, and then, like I said, formula for success. It only takes a few seconds to get open if you're a decent receiver, slot, whatever the case may be. Even just for the running back coming out the backfield, out the chip off. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, Carolina, I have a question for you. Because when you always call, you're always on the road, man. You're always rolling. When are you playing Fortnite? I mean, when you? I just heard that information, and I heard that you got you a win. You get a victory royale.
Yes, I did, man. On solos, man. That's the hardest one to get it on, man.
Definitely hard to get that on. I think I've had 3 ever, and 2 of them were assisted because Chris jumped in on my game and told me, "Hey, look for him." Anyways, hey, for that, give yourself a honk on that one, man. There you go. Here we go, man.
Love it. Man.
All right, Carolina, stay.
It's funny, man.
Yeah.
My daughter said, "Oh, you got first? Okay, now I can finally play with you."
Yeah, you got to that level. All right, good stuff.
I done leveled my game up, man.
All right.
Hey, you take care, man.
You too, man.
Cowboys.
All right, stay safe on the road there. He's in Shreveport, Louisiana. Fun fact, that's where I was born for first year of my life. It was a good year. I had a good season there before we moved. But yeah, I was born in Shreveport. All right, let's go to break. Got one more break here. Go to break on StoryLine. Come right back after this.
Cowboys fans, when it comes to navigating the ever-changing world of tax, your business needs a partner it can trust to tackle even your biggest tax challenges. Ryan is the largest firm in the world dedicated exclusively to business taxes. Our team of tax professionals has local expertise in all areas of tax and can help you uncover savings opportunities you didn't know you had. Learn more about how Ryan can improve your overall corporate tax performance by visiting Ryan.com. Ryan, the official tax partner of the Dallas Cowboys.
There is no I in Dallas. There is no I in Hart either. No I in Blue Star or in Lone Star for that matter. And there's no I in how about them Cowboys? Smirnoff knows there's no I in football. Football is a we thing, an experience that is best enjoyed together. With good drinks and good folks, home or away, we rally together. We cry together. And we always rally cry together because there's definitely no I in Cowboys fans. Smirnoff, we do game days. Please drink responsibly.
To Cowboys Storyline.
All right, this segment is presented by Yeti. Officially licensed Yeti Cowboys gear is now available at the Stadium Pro Shops, concession, and on Yeti.com. Got a little surprise for some of the Cowboys storyliners for Yeti coming up here in hopefully next couple of weeks. So excited about throwing that out there. I'll just leave it at that. That should be fun. All right, let's keep it going here. We got Lewis in Langston, Oklahoma. That's how you say it, right? Lewis in Langston.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
How are you?
Not much. I was trying to make it a three-peat for you, but I couldn't get in time for you.
I mean, what's going on in Oklahoma? I mean, you guys are, it's Oklahoma and Florida. Good stuff today, guys. But, yeah, man, what's up with you? And what are you thinking?
Not much, man. I heard this question on the draft show the other day, and I thought it would be good to get your opinion because I was thinking about it.
Okay.
So we know that we have our most important players right now that we want to draft is a receiver, a running back, a corner, and a D tackle, a number one. If you had to take the first three picks, how would you rank them in order of most important to not important because somebody's getting eliminated? So who do you eliminate? Because if it was me, I would do in no particular order, running back, receiver, D tackle, and the corner would have to be the odd man out for me because I think maybe we might be able to get one in free agency or get somebody in the later round.
Yeah.
So, I said, I just was listening to that, and I thought it would be a good question to see what you would rank them and who would get eliminated or maybe, pick up later on or get in the later round, something like that.
Yeah.
And and I'll listen to it.
All right, thank you. That's a good question. For me, just as thinking that you go through the draft with 3 picks in the first 3 rounds. Let's say that there's not a trade back and all that. So you got your guy at 12, and you took one in the second and third round. If I'm heading into Saturday, I would feel good. Obviously, if they pick the guys that they like, but if it's offensive tackle, wide receiver, and corner, those are the 3 for me that I guess I'm eliminating running back and defensive tackle. I want an offensive tackle. I've said it several times already. I'll take the receiver too. That especially in the second round. But I mean, I'm looking at the board. If I were looking at the board in the second round of receivers, I'm taking and I'm sorting by 40 time. Give me a guy that's in the 4.2, 4.3 range. Now, obviously, if he's in the second round, he's got some kind of issues. Maybe not that big, not as productive as he's been at times, but speed is what I'm looking for there, playmaker. So I'd be fine with that. And then corner as well. You get in the top 3 rounds, you probably got a guy that should come in and be able to play. You still got to figure out running back, but you did sign a couple of guys there that can help you. Maybe you pick one up later, and then defensive tackle. If you just look at what the history for Eberflus and the guys that he's had, he just typically hasn't had some of those big name guys. So I think they can kind of figure it out. You obviously re-signed Osa. They signed some guys in free agency that I think can kind of help with that. See how they play Solomon Thomas. That'll be interesting. But, you can't pick everyone, but that would be my guys there. All right, let's go to who's next here? Troy in Indianapolis. Troy.
How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Great, man. Great. Just ready to get this football season started.
First-time caller, right?
You bet. First time.
I love it. I love how we're getting these first-time callers here today. That's 3 at least. So that is good stuff, man. All right.
I definitely think the offensive line is a place that we need to address.
Okay.
But my thought is, what about Tyler Warren? I just feel like that in today's football, those guys are uncoverable. We don't have those type physical guys out there playing in space. And if you put this guy out there, he can block, he can play in space. He's now a new offensive weapon. I just think he's a game changer. What are your thoughts?
Unfortunately, Troy, I agree. And I say unfortunately because I don't think that'll be the case. But I agree with you 100% that that's the one that would be the wild card for me. If he's there and they really like him, if say they evaluated him and said this guy's elite, because I totally agree with you. If you have a tight end that you cannot really cover, it's a problem. It is a huge, huge problem. And that's how you make a great quarterback. I mean, think about these guys all the time. Think about Mahomes. Think about Brady. They have, when you think of their receivers and running backs, they change every year. But the tight end doesn't change. Tight end didn't change for Brady, and it doesn't change for Mahomes. So you get that guy,
Well, and the difference in that is Warren can block.
Right.
This guy's not a guy that just plays in space. He's dirty. He's nasty. He plays hard.
Which makes them, that's what the mismatch is. He comes out on the line of scrimmage and he's right next to the tackle. All right, they're about to run the ball. Next thing you know, Mahomes pops up, pushes him out there to the flat. Now what happens? Now you're going to put a corner on him? You're going to put the linebacker on him? Because that'll be an L. You can't do that. So that's why there's such big mismatches, because they can play inside out. That's what made Witten so good. Witten, he wasn't the most athletic player, but he got open. He certainly got open, and he could block. So that's why I then it would create a problem. You're going to have to trade with somebody. You have to trade Ferguson. You have to trade a Schoonmaker. You have to, you'd have to do that. But if they really, really like him, I don't think he should be excluded from the mix. That's my take on that.
Appreciate that.
All right, Troy,
And,
you got anything else?
I'm just not real sure how confident I am in the top offensive lineman. I just don't think we're going to get another Tyron Smith, even at 12 in the first round. I just don't know if that guy's in this draft.
Yeah. Well, and he might not be. Tyron went 9th. It's one of the best drafts of all time, NFL-wise. If you go back and look at that draft, I mean, there are some big-time names that came out of that draft. And J.J. Watt, I believe, went 11 that year. So, really, really big-time draft. But, there's guys that fall to 12. I mean, especially with these quarterbacks, best thing that you could see is see Jackson Dart somehow get in there. If he gets in there, that's even better. That's perfect. It's what you want. And you want Shedeur Sanders to go. You want those quarterbacks to go, because that's going to give you a lot of really good players that you really want that will be still sitting there for you. All right, Troy. Good stuff. Thanks for the call. Good to hear from you. That was 4 first-time callers that called today. That's amazing. That's good stuff right there. All right, Champ in Nebraska. Not a first-time caller, but first time in a little bit. Champ, what's up?
It has been a little bit. I've missed you guys.
Yeah, man. Everything going good?
Yes, sir. I just, I hadn't had a whole lot to say getting ready for the draft and all that. Didn't want to just be calling to be a caller that was like, hey, I'm still here and whatnot. But I just wanted to call, and I got a little bit on my heart today with Randy, obviously.
Of course.
That's hard. I mean, but hey, the first few calls were a little somber. And I didn't like that. I was like, he's still with us. He's a fighter. I mean, I don't know Randy personally, but just listening to him, he's a fighter. He's a Cowboys fan. He's a fighter. You got this, Randy. Get better, my friend. And then with Tyron, I've told you before with Zach Martin, I'm an old offensive lineman. The line, that's where my heart is at. And, man, we've lost some good ones this year.
Yeah.
I know he didn't play with us last year, but I still cheered for him over there. I wanted to see him do well because he's a Cowboy. I'm glad he's getting that one-day contract. I can't wait to hear. I hope he speaks today. He's a quiet guy. I really would like to hear him just speak from the heart about his time with the Cowboys.
Yeah.
Draft purposes, really excited. Got that hopium built up. I'm thinking, here we go. Let's get something good. I think that we have a plan. I didn't hate free agency. I would have liked to have seen a little more, but hey, it's a start. You did a little more than we have in the years past. So I just wanted to say hey and wish my best to Randy, wish my best to Tyron.
All right. Appreciate that. Thank you so much, Champ.
Yes, sir.
Good call for sure. And yeah, I love you guys are spreading the love today. as far Tyron goes, the press conference is going to be interesting to see. I saw the setup that they have, a very similar setup to what we had just a few weeks ago, I guess, with Zach Martin. That was pretty natural. Zach had no issues with that. I'm curious to see how long this goes with Tyron. This isn't something that he's I don't know, say good at, but I mean, he's probably not going to be comfortable with this setup. But that's just what it is. I mean, he wasn't a media friendly guy. Not that he wasn't a friendly person, just this wasn't his thing. It probably won't last too long. He's not just like Larry Allen, back in the day. Larry didn't talk a whole lot, but he sure could, when he got his hands on you, it was over. Like we said earlier, great player. Glad the Cowboys are doing this. Kind of wish they would do this with some other guys. There's about 6 or 7 other guys that I know would like this as well. They're not on the level of Tyron Smith, but it matters to them. It matters to retire as a Cowboy. It's not that they're going into the Hall of Fame and what cap are they wearing. NFL doesn't do that. It's just it matters to them. Even though they go to another team, they want to finish with the Cowboys, especially for those players that started here. So, I kind of wish they would do that. This is the time to do it. You'd have to do it right now in this April. When you can get to 90 players, do it for one day, boom. You can't do it in middle of the season. You can't cut a player just for that. You have to kind of do it this time of year. So, but yeah, I'm glad they're doing it with Tyron. It'll be fun to see what happens today. All right, let's keep it going here. Got 2 more callers we got to get in. Chris, Saratoga Springs, New York. Chris, what's up?
Hey, Nick, how are you?
Great. And you?
Not too bad. Every show I seem to get on, my Tyler Warren, man, keeps coming up every time, and you're warming up more and more every single time.
Yeah. I mean, tight ends can be difference makers, and if he's that guy, I just, nothing against Jake Ferguson or Schoonmaker, but they're not those guys. Now Kittle was a 5th-round pick, 4th-round pick. I mean, Kittle developed into that, so you can be a star, and you don't have to necessarily be a first round. And I'm not saying that Ferguson can't take that next leap, but it'd be interesting if they did that. I don't think they will, but
Yeah, the more I look at it, I really see us trading back. I really think we're going to, without having that 4th-round pick, I think they're going to want to add some extra picks. And I think if the 1 or 2 guys that they're targeting is not there, I really think they're going to move back. That's just my opinion. I really do think they're going to move back a little bit.
Yeah. I'm trying to think, how do you get a 4th-round pick and move back? If you're trading a 1st-round pick and you move 1 spot back, I still think you would get a 3rd, maybe a 4th. So I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how you get a 4th-round pick. I think you could maybe get a 2nd and a 4th if you move, 5 spots back, something like that. But yeah. And you don't necessarily have to get your 4th right then. If you move back a few spots and pick up a 3rd, now you're sitting with 2 thirds. That's how you work your way. When you get to that point, that's how you work your way back into the 4th or whatever. But I just don't think it'll happen with the tight end because I don't think that it's just a need. They've got some needs. They still have needs, and I don't think that's a huge need.
Right.
But it would be a fun pick, be a fun player, and I think it's somebody that could help their football team. The quarterback's best friend is a tight end, and I think Ferguson's still really good. Last year was a tough year. He got hurt twice, and that's something that I think we still have to remember. But the second time he got hurt, Schoonmaker actually took his game to another level. So they have a great coach over there, and tight ends coach Lunda Wells is really, really good. Every year he's developing these tight ends, getting them to another level. So that was a big get to keep him on the staff. He had a chance to go to other places. So I think the tight end room will be great. But that'd be a fun pick.
Yeah, I got one more question for you. I know we signed 2 linebackers in the offseason. With that second-round pick, what's your thought on that kid from UCLA, Carson? I really, really like the kid.
Yeah, I'd be lying to you. I'd be lying to you if I told you I knew anything about him. I don't. I see it on our. I'm looking at our draft magazine. We've got Schlesinger. I can't even say his name. I
yeah, that's why I said Carson.
Yeah, right. We have a show for that. These guys they'll be all over it tomorrow talking about all these guys. I just can't sit here and tell you that I know much about him, if anything. But I do think it's a position where with Overshown's injury, that one's tough. I tell you, the guy that doesn't get talked about a lot that needs big year is Damone Clark. I mean, if anything's going to happen with Damone Clark, it's got to happen now. And so you've got Leafau, you got the 2 linebackers they brought in, Walker and Sanborn. But I do think there's still some more depth that's needed at linebacker. I don't know about second round. I feel like there's other bigger needs, but, it's all about talent and grades. And if you got a stud that's fallen that you love, I'm for it. So, all right, Chris, good stuff. Wish I knew a little bit more about those draft picks, but I'm getting there. I mean, you can't give me second round guy. First round, I'm still kind of working myself on the first round, but I love that you guys know that it's a big deal. I mean, the draft is big. I've always just thought it's so hard to prepare for it, get ahead of it. But there's guys that we have the show. They love it, and it's a cool thing. So definitely check those out. Let's go. Last caller of the day, Lester in Minnesota. Lester, how you doing?
Good morning, Nick. My special prayers go out to Randy, and it was a heck of a run, heck of a run by my left tackle there, who's retiring today. As far as I think, I'm the offensive defensive line guy, and I gave you my lineup for the line as it is today. I know we may draft someone or whatever. I don't think we need to draft one in the first round unless there's someone in there that we can't do without, which I don't believe that's the case this year. We could pick up a good offensive lineman in, the later rounds. Unless the Boise State guy is there, running back at 12, I would move back a couple picks, 3, 4 picks, and get that 4th rounder back or another 3rd rounder. I think we should go defensive lineman. And this is what I would do. Defensive lineman, running back first, defensive lineman, and I would go from there. Because, like I said, I think we should go get the wide receiver from Chicago. I don't think he's there anymore with them, but to get I think his name Keenan Allen or whatever, to pick him up. And I don't know if Asante Samuel's still out there, but go get him as a corner so we don't have to just reach and get something that we desperately need or whatever. And we can just build our defensive line up. Again, as it stands now, our offensive line, this is what I would do. I would kick Tyler out to left tackle.
Nope.
I would put Steele at left guard. BB, Hoffman, Austin Richard, or the rookie from last year. That's what I would do. I think because, you want to protect Dak, and he doesn't. When he doesn't feel protected, he gets a little nervous back there. And I think that would be the best lineup right now as it stands. If we draft somebody, of course, flip it around or whatever. But that's all I have to say.
All right.
Until we get a great offensive and defensive line at the same time, Cowboy fans, this is what we got. Go
All right.
Cowboys.
Thanks, Lester. I don't agree with that at all. I think Tyler Smith needs to stay at guard. That's where he's going to be elite. That's where he has been elite. I keep him at guard for sure. I don't move him to tackle, and I definitely don't move Terrence Steele to a position he's never played before either. He needs to stay there. But there's a lot of moving parts, and there's a lot of players that can move around like that. I don't know about those two. All right, guys, great show. 16 callers, outstanding. We were able to move quickly. We had 4 first-timers. Good stuff. More importantly than that, this was a great show because it reminds you, like I said earlier, that this show's a family. It really is. And when one of our guys is down right now, and Randy, everyone's rallying to him. And we know, Randy, we're all pulling for you, but we know that you're a fighter. Like one of the callers just said, you're a fighter. You've got this, and we're here to help you, support you in any way. We're praying for good news, good results, and some of the procedures happening later on this month. We're all going to be rooting for you and keeping you in our prayers for sure. Randy, you're the best, and we really, really are. Can't wait for you to call again. We know it'll be sooner than later. All right, guys, great show. Appreciate it. We'll be back next Wednesday. It'll be the day before the draft. It'll be draft eve. We'll be back next Wednesday, and we'll run it all over again. For Chris Beam, I'm Nick Eatman. See you next time on Storyline.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!